What is up, everybody? This is RybackStun. We have returned to Marvel Heroes Test Center. We are here with Vision, since this is the first build that I've been able to get Vision out. Sorry about that. We're going to take a quick look at him as quickly as we possibly can. So the first things first, as we always do, we try to look at the synergy. And Vision's got an interesting one, 3% range power damage, and then 10% damage versus machines. That'll come in later, and I'll explain it here. There are two powers that I won't be able to show you in these three trees, specifically because there's nothing mechanical in here. I'm surprised that these dummies are not considered mechanical. But he's got three trees: Density, Brawling, Solar Power, and Android. Please do not be deceived
Sending out probe
by the number of powers in Density Brawling. There's actually 5 more powers here, technically. So let's go ahead and take a look really quick. We're here with the lovely Vision in his regular comic book uniform. Vision has 5 attack powers and 1 buff/passive/active power. So, first power here is his basic. It's called Phase Punch. It does physical damage. It increases his dodge rating, and it has actually relatively high attack speed. So you can see him just sit there and punch, 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 punch. Remember, this is Test Center. All things are subject to change. Damage tuning is not finished. I am not using any gear. Continuing on. Next is Phase. It restores 11.3 solar energy per 5 seconds after you use it. Per second for 5 seconds, excuse me. And it is indeed basically a teleport power. Let's see if I can... Yep, so there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Another teleporter, which is fun. Next, we have Lighter Than Air, which is his flight, so teleporting and flight. I doubt anybody's really going to use the flight power. However, it does restore 10 solar energy per second, so you can use it to get out of battle and then come right back in and hit with a power. Next, we have Comeuppance, which is a really cool damage power. It's much like Silver Surfer's Death from Below. Bam! So it's got knockdown duration. You take 50% less damage while this power is active. That's interesting. I don't think that's what that's supposed to say. Oh, it must be while you're actually activating it and using it, because you'll still take damage even though you're underground. So nice big set of physical damage there. Next, we have Physical Disruption, which is... stuns your enemy by phasing your hand through them, and then it's physical damage, and it's a stun, obviously. Boom, there's that. Now, we have the very interesting power. We have Density Shift. Alter your density to improve your endurance and shift your density brawler abilities between phasing powers or ultra dense powers. So while you're in the phase mode, this is technically what you start out with and what it is, activating this power will switch you over to ultra density. It will also, for 5 seconds, give you 25% damage negation, and it will increase your block to 20% chance for 5 seconds. It has a 10-second cooldown. It also has a passive effect in phasing mode specifically, that it gives you dodge chance, dodge rating, projectile deflection chance, and movement speed. Now, switching over, you'll notice all the icons here have changed, and these are different things. In Ultra Dense mode, you have 15% damage negated, you have 351 damage rating, which obviously goes up, you have projectile reflection chance and tenacity, and then when you activate this, you get a 40% dodge chance, a 20% chance to evade for 5 seconds after activating the ability. But let's check out these Ultra Dense abilities. Next, we have High Density Punch, which gives you defense rating, and it does physical damage. And it is slower than the other power, but it's supposed to do more damage. Next, we have 10-Ton Torpedo, which is a basic melee movement ultra dense power. Boom! Bam! Doesn't take any solar energy, which is pretty cool. Next, we have Heavy Sprint, which is travel, and it's much like Juggernaut's sprint, but it actually deals damage, which is interesting. Next, we have High Density Slam, so this comes from above. Knockdown duration, and you take 75% less damage while the power is active. It has an 8-second cooldown. Boom! Very cool. And next we have Hammer Punch. Critical hit chance is increased for this power, and it's got a nice section of physical damage. Boom. There you go. Now these are the only powers that change based upon what you have in density or phasing. So you can choose to stick on ultra dense or stick on phasing and get the certain things. I think a lot of people are going to stick on ultra dense unless they need to move around and do stuff. So there's that. Next tree we have is I just had it, Solar Power Tree. This is where your actual solar energy comes into play. Notice how he has a different spirit attribute. Instead of spirit, it is solar energy, and it's higher than normal. So first we have Solar Bolt, excuse me. It's energy damage, and it reduces the cooldown of Solar Overcharge by 5.5 seconds for each hit, and it has a rate of 2.6 per second. Solar Overcharge is your signature, so let's just take a look at this really quick. Blast, 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 which is pretty cool. Next, we have Channeled Solar Beam, energy damage twice per second, and an ongoing cost of 300 per second. So you can do this, and notice how it goes. The solar energy goes down, and then now it slowly comes back up. Next, we have Solar Flare. Energy damage, rate of fire is 1 per second, and it has a solar energy cost of 400. So this is how the Solar Flare looks normally, and then you can, you know, blast, much like Cyclops' Devastation Beam, I think is what it's called. Next up, we have the Tri-Beam, which also has an ongoing energy cost. It's got damage increased per 1% of your attack speed, and it deals damage 4 times per second. So that's neat.
Cannot engage without sufficient energy.
The solar energy to come back up. And it is a targeted ability, so you will not be able to swipe it around. So that's cool. Next, we have the Solar Overcharge. Actually, I'm going to wait. That's going to come up last. Next, we have Power of the Sun. This is an ability that might help you while you're in your melee mode, because it does give you energy damage on melee hit. So because of the fact that these are all physical damage, yes, Vision is a dual damage type. Power Cosmic is going to be the item you want, probably Power Dupe as well. And there you go. Plus, you could also use it without using any of these solar energy powers. You just use Power of the Sun, and it should activate the proc on energy damage. It is, however, 150 solar energy per hit, and it deals a moderate amount of energy damage with a 0.3 second cooldown. Then we have Surface of the Sun, which is a ranged area. It does energy damage twice per second, has an area duration of 8 seconds. There's your thing, and that's cool for the ranged abilities. That even might be cool for melee. Next, we have the Solar Overcharge, which is your signature. It does a lot of energy damage. It restores 100% of your maximum energy. You take 90% less damage while the power is active. It has a 32.9 second cooldown, which I believe is going to be reduced. Solar Bolt reduces the cooldown of this power by 0.5 seconds per hit. Solar Energy Cost Reduction affixes reduce this power's cooldown instead of reducing the solar energy costs, which is cool. There's no solar energy cost to it, so that's why. Cooldown is currently reduced by 6%. Maximum 50%, so that's cool. And essentially, it's a big explosion type power, and then you'll notice, if you look at the bottom, it is basically going down by twice as much speed. So that's cool and neat to see that. Next, we have the Android Trees. Now, Android Tree has one of your passives. It's called Defragmentation. You can see enemies on the minimap. It gives you damage rating, crit hit rating, and solar energy. Your solar energy recharges at all times at a rate of 10% per second. Cost of solar energy spending powers cannot be reduced. Damage rating, it gives you an extra, it's not going to be 203, I don't think, but it's damage to melee powers as long as solar energy is recharging. So, you get the extra melee while you're activating that melee power, and then stacking on your physical damage, you're proccing all kinds of damage things. It's pretty cool. And then it also has the active effect of being your CC breaker. So again, continuing the trend of CC breakers actually being worth taking. Next, the two powers that I can't use are AI Hack and Overclocking. Essentially, AI Hack deals damage twice per second, and if the target robot falls below 20% health, it becomes a pet similar to Emma's pet. It increases its base damage by 250%, attack and movement speed by 2%, base health by 10%, and regenerates 2% maximum health per second. Now, the second thing he has, which is another Emma-type power, it requires a controlled robot to activate, it gives you a taunt duration of 10 seconds, it costs 300 solar energy, and after 2 seconds, overclocking can be activated again, in which your robot explodes, permanently destroying it and dealing a lot of energy damage and rate. That also costs 300 solar energy. So it's going to be, you're going to have the taunt duration for 10 seconds. After 2 seconds, you're going to be able to activate it again, and then after that point, it's going to be 10 seconds until you activate overclocking again. So interesting little ability there. Gives him a little bit of Emma to work with, but only with machines. Or robots, excuse me, not necessarily machines. Next, we have Healing Nanites, which is a passive. It regenerates maximum health per second, a percentage. And then the active regenerates a maximum health per second for you and your robot that's controlled. It costs 500 solar energy. Cooldown is 15 seconds. So, that's what it looks like. Boom. Next, we have Holographic Manipulation, which is another solar energy cost ability. While toggled on, become invisible to all enemies. Damage rating increased, crit hit and brutal strike rating increased, crit and brutal damage rating increased, and it's an ongoing energy cost of 300 per second. So you'll notice it drains out pretty quickly here. And that's kind of it's good for a solid burst. And I you know what? I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna put this on here and see how this works. I'm gonna activate the toggle. Wait till it gets to about a quarter, and then your solar energy goes up, and then it just continues to go and go and go. So there's that. That's an interesting little ability you can do while maintaining some extra damage in your overcharge. So, that is Vision. He's pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not Vision. We have also Terminal Velocity. rocket into the upper atmosphere, increasing your mass to 500 tons, and meteor strike your enemies and everything around them. Physical damage, knockdown duration, physical damage twice per second for your area duration of 20 seconds. Bada boom ba. Bam. Oh, look at that beautiful art. That's amazing. And it's all like magmatized. Oh, that's sick. That's a pretty darn cool ultimate. So here is Vision. Vision's pretty ballin'. He's got stuff going. It looks like it's going to be an interesting character. All you power Cosmicers out there, I'll be able to use your power Cosmics on this guy and actually be effective. It looks like his ranged build and his melee build should be pretty good. Remember, damage tuning is not finished, so please don't yell that the character's broken and not worthwhile because damage tuning is not finished yet. Hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did showcasing each. Remember to like and comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Tumblr at RybackStun. More videos as they come along, and with that, this is RybackStun, signing out.